And I'll just do the same to the keyboard here. Select this, go to spacebar, create UV's planar map, and go through and map this keyboard. I'm going to align it to the surface here so it projects correctly. That's about right. And change the width and height to something even. Select the shell and scale it and rotate it into position. Alright. Before moving on, I'm going to freeze the transforms again if you haven't already, just to make sure these are all zeroed out. And go to Edit, Delete by Type History, just to delete that extra history there. Alright, so before we close the UV texture editor, I'm going to shoot out a UV snapshot that I'll use later on in Photoshop to guide me as to where I'll place my textures. Just make sure this file name path is correct and that all these folders exist, otherwise you'll get an error. It won't create the folders automatically. So I'm going to name this Computer Terminal UV. Make sure that the X and Y sizes are set to the size of the texture I intend to make, which is 256 in this case, and hit OK. I'll overwrite that because I wrote one previously. Alright, so we can close this, and now it's time to export out our model. So select our model, and first let's make sure our OBJ export plugin is enabled. So if you go to Windows Settings, Preferences, and Plugin Manager, we can click that, and just right here, OBJ export.ml is in fact loaded, so we're fine. Then we'll go to File, Export Selection, and we'll make sure our file type is set as an OBJ export. And I'm going to be calling this Computer Terminal. That's it. Alright, so that's it as far as our Maya work. I'm going to jump into 3ds Max and convert this out, import it as a, right here, import OBJ. Let's see, all this is, I think the defaults are all fine. Import that, I'll select that again, go to Export Selection, and I'll export it back out as Computer Terminal. Without using Max, I found that the exporting OBJs directly out of Maya and SketchUp, Blockade Runner is not too friendly with those, so Max right now seems to be the only way to go in that route. Alright, now it's time to jump into Photoshop here, and I'll start by grabbing my my UV image that I exported out earlier, or my UV snapshot. I'll zoom in here a little bit, and we'll start making our texture. So if you double click the background and hit enter, that'll create a layer, and I'm just going to create another layer underneath it and hit Shift F5, and I'll just fill that with a gray because I'm going to double click on this and use this gradient, this color overlay to control its color. Though before I do that, I think I'll set this layer as a screen, so it will blend through and remove the black there. Alright, so back to this. If you double click on this layer we just created, it will bring up this these blending options, and I'll go to color overlay, and I'll be able to change the color. And I'm kind of thinking of a kind of like an 80s plastic beige sort of look. Something like that should be fine. Alright, next I'll just bring in my two images I found here. If I go back to textures, I've got a keyboard and kind of an old computer screen look that I'll be using. I'm going to use the M key to marquee around this. And I'll Control-Shift-I to inverse the selection, delete to delete it, and Control-D to unselect. Then I'll hit V to move it over to here. And then we'll go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and I'll Shift scale one of the corners, or rather that's scale one of the corners while holding Shift to uniformly scale. And I'll just scale this down into place. Alright, I'll do the same for the keyboard here. Hit M, marquee, and Control-Shift-I, delete, Control-D, V, and move it over. transform scale, hold shift, scale that down. And for accurate placement, you can hold down the control key as well as you're moving around or moving the object. Alright, great, that'll be it. I'll just take off our UV layer there, and that's our texture. And just make sure, or sorry, in my case I had to use the 32-bit version of Photoshop because my DDS export plugin wasn't working for my 64-bit. But from here we're going to save our DDS texture and go to File, Save As, and just write in here D3D/DDS, hit that. Let's call it Computer Terminal Text, and we'll just select the preset for DX3 8-bit explicit alpha and save that out. And now we're all set. I'll go back into our Blockade Runner prefabs and start moving files over into the prefabs folder. So just to make it easy, I'll copy this existing prefab and just rename it Computer Terminal with an L. And jump in here, and I will move over our Computer Terminal OBJ that we built. That's our model, and also grab the DDS texture that we just built. And I'll just rename these. I'll delete the existing model and name it model. And I'll delete the. I'll just actually copy that, delete that, and rename this texture diffuse. And I'm going to delete the normals map for now, just because it might cause some weirdness since it's been created for a different UV set. And that's it. One thing we are missing is we're missing that settings file. I'm just going to pull it from somewhere else here. And this settings text, it just it looks like it tells the just the collision information in the game. So it's a width of 1, height of 1, and length of 1. So that's fine for our computer terminal since ours is just 1 unit. But if it was something longer, you might want to change one of these. I have noticed some weirdness though. It can place it funny and do some strange stuff. So just if you're trying to place an object that has a height of 10 and it tries to place it like 10 units to the left or something like that, this is probably what's doing that. And that's why I'm just leaving it as a 1 for any item I make currently until that's resolved. Alright, so that should be all we need to do here. We need to back out into the content data folder and now edit our solids.xml. So I'm going to open this using Notepad++ just to make things a little easier. And I want to add a line. I'll probably just copy one of these and paste it down here somewhere. And we need to add a line for our computer terminal is made. So I'm going to call this computer terminal, and that will be the name that that shows up in the game. Maybe I'll space it out here. Mass 10, hit points 10. It's a prefab geometry. The category, this first letter is like utilities, and then the subsection would be industrial. Maybe I want to use something else. There's another one of something in here. H terminals. Sure, we'll use that. Tags, let's see. The description short, I'll just call it a computer. Sure. Description long, computer terminal control, whatever. And then the model path, that is the name of the folder we put it in. So we called it, I think it was computer terminal lowercase, and the texture path would be default. Save that, and then this should work. Should being the keyword there. Blockade Runner, start that up. We'll jump in here, go into the editor, and then where did I put that? Habitat, terminals. Oh, alright, we did something wrong here. Okay. So I'm guessing we grabbed the wrong OBJ. So what I'll do is I'm going to try to export it back out of Max here. Just import our computer terminal 2, and I'll export this back out as a computer terminal. All right. We'll hope that's the problem there. Alright, so it might also be a problem with the solids folder I just edited. Let's go back to computer terminal here and make sure it references the correct path. Content, prefabs. Oh, yep, see I spelled that wrong. Just typing too fast here. Computer terminal. That definitely has to match this, or you'll have problems. But it's good because we kind of shot that, and you guys are having similar issues. If it crashes, I guarantee it's something that you're probably doing wrong. Okay, user error thing. All right, spray. Sweet, it's in here. All right, so bam, that's our computer. Awesome. It looks so good.